Hey everybody! Welcome to today's video lecture. Today we will be finishing informal reports. So we'll be talking about information reports, justification and recommendation reports, and briefly about progress reports. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, information reports. So reports, they are reports that collect and organize information. They can be informative or investigative. They may record routine activities such as daily, weekly, or monthly reports of sales or profits. They may investigate options, performance, or equipment. Although they provide information, they do not analyze that information. So they present it, but they do not analyze it. Writers of information reports provide information without drawing conclusions or making recommendations, so they are unbiased. They are just presenting the information as it is. So some reports might be highly standardized, such as police reports or hospital admittance reports, monthly sales reports. There might be a specific format for that, government regulatory reports and such. Other information reports are more personalized though. Information reports generally contain 3 parts. The information, or in the introduction, which tells us what it's going to be about. Then the body that contains the findings and a conclusion. And the body may have several subsections. Alright, so writing information reports. You need to consider these suggestions when you are writing your information report. In the introduction, you need to explain why. Pretty much like any introduction when we're writing a letter or an essay, same thing in information reports, you need to explain why you are writing. So for some reports, you need to describe what methods and sources were used to gather this information and why they are credible. So this is a little bit like an abstract for an academic article. You're explaining what you did and how you did it, and any special background information that might be necessary. In the findings section, you need to organize the facts in a logical sequence. So there are 7 ways you can do this. You can order them chronologically, alphabetically, topically, geographically, in a journalism style with who, what, where, when, why, and how, simple to complex, or most to the least important. Okay. I do have pictures of a 2-page report by someone named Christopher Kelly that responds to an inquiry about prepaid legal services. So in the intro, he explains the purpose of the report and previews the organization of the report. So forecasts what's coming. In the findings and the facts section, he arranges his information in a topical way, and he uses the summary to emphasize the 3 main points that he discussed in the body, which is just like an essay. Okay, so we have the letterhead at the top and the date and the addresses, and then it is a reply letter to someone named Miss Agostino. It's hard for me to read it on these screens too. So he starts off with, as Executive Director of the Center for Consumers of Legal Services, I am pleased to send you this information describing how your homeowners association can sponsor a legal services plan for its members. After an introduction with background data, this report will discuss 3 steps necessary for your group to start the plan. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So now she knows. The intro will give some background information and give her some numbers, being data, and then it will go into the steps that she needs to take. So if she already knows how much it's going to cost, and that's maybe why she inquired with this particular company, then she might just move down to the steps. So you can see in this report, the introduction is labeled, as well as there are several subsections. So we have determine the benefits your group needs, and under which we have free consultation, free document review, discount on additional services, And then he has select the attorneys for your plan and publicize the plan to your members. So after you've chosen the plan and decided what you're going to do, you need to tell people. And then our summary, in which he has a successful free legal services plan involves designing a program, choosing the attorneys, and publicizing the plan. To learn more about these 3 steps or to order a $25 how-to manual, call me at this number. Okay, his summary is very short. It is only 2 sentences. He repeats the 3 steps she needs to take and then tells her that she can learn more by either getting a manual or calling him. You'll remember when we talked about persuasion that you should give your reader alternatives at the end of your letters. Not just one, not just that they have to call you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Give them a few times to call you, or a few options, email you, call your receptionist, anything like that. So you'll see here that he did give her options. He said she can buy a how-to manual or call him. All right, if you would like to read the letter as it is, you can pause the video lecture and read it from here. Okay, so informational reports in a manuscript format. So informational reports manuscript format. Denmark is a Scandinavian country of just over 5.5 million people and currently has the 5th largest GDP in the world. It is well worth studying its business and social culture. Okay. What we're going to do is go through this together, and this is a report. Okay? So this is a report about Denmark. Ready? All right, their business culture. Upon first meeting, it is customary to shake hands with a smile, and while maintaining direct eye contact with each individual in the group, beginning with the women. After the handshake, the Danish like to maintain personal space and further touching is not welcome. Sounds a bit Canadian. Business cards should also be exchanged, and your business card should have the physical location of your company included on it. Being punctual is very important. All meetings and appointments should be scheduled in advance and confirmed in writing. It should not be attempted to schedule meetings between mid-June and mid-August, as that is the time that most Danes tend to take vacation. If there's a chance of being late to a prearranged meeting, it is important to phone ahead to let whoever is being met know. If you are late to a business meeting, it may convey that you are not serious about your work. The Danish people place a great importance on equality, which trickles down from their egalitarian style of government. In their companies, they consider managers to be primus inter pares, which is Latin for first among equals. The managers are expected to keep things running smoothly, but are not expected to give directions in a way that makes others feel subordinate. Women are also well respected in the workplace, and a great number of them hold high positions in corporations. Advancements are made based on ability, rather than on social status or on education. In discussing business matters, Danes like to be to the point, or get to the point. It is seen as a sign of respect to be honest with someone. A specific agenda is prepared for each meeting, and those in attendance are also expected to be well prepared. A decision may not be made right away because, in accordance with their values of equality, they will seek a consensus for the matter. Even though Danish people tend to be restricted in their body language and expect the same from those who they do business with, they try to foster a feeling of hygiene or hyge, which is a Danish word that generally means a feeling of comfort and ease with your surroundings in all business circumstances. They tend to do so by using humor. It is also important to note that although business attire is casual, suit and tie or a woman's suit are rarely seen. It is expected that clothes are in excellent condition and that you look neat and presentable at all times. Social customs. In Denmark, people keep a strong distinction between business and their personal lives. However, some behaviors that you employ in a business circumstance also applies in social situations. For example, handshakes should be exchanged in the same manner and should be the only form of touching. They also value being polite and saying thank you. But complimenting or commenting on someone's clothing should be avoided, just as in business circumstances, everyone is expected to be dressed in a manner that looks neat and well put together. For conversation, Danish people tend to have a good knowledge of American pop culture, as many American shows, music, and other entertainment are also played there. They also tend to know 2 or 3 languages proficiently, in addition to their native language. Their country and educational system are points of pride, and so they also make for great conversation. If invited to dinner, it is customary to bring a small gift. Upon giving the gift to the host, he or she will open it. It is also polite to call ahead and offer to bring a dish or help prepare or clean up after the meal. Dinners tend to be long, between 4 and 5 hours, with much conversation. Danish people can tend to be ironic when they speak. For example, if it is a perfectly putrid day outside, they might remark, "What beautiful weather." This is not a foreign concept to Americans. In summary, in conducting business with the Danes or just meeting with the people casually, it is important to put your best foot forward with good manners, punctuality, and appearance. Being direct is the way to discuss business, and decisions are made based on group consensus. Making attempts to adapt to Danish culture will help business transactions be as smooth and pleasant as possible. Okay. So that is an example of a report in manuscript form. So it reads like a story almost, right? A little bit researchy. So it's telling us what to look out for and what to be aware of if you go to do business in Denmark. Okay, next we're going to look at justification and recommendation reports. So both managers and employees must occasionally write reports that justify or recommend something. Large organizations sometimes prescribe how these reports should actually be organized. They might use forms with conventional headings, for example. When you are free to select an organizational plan for yourself, let your audience and topic determine your choice of direct or indirect structure. So we'll look at some patterns here. All right, indirect, for non-sensitive topics and recommendations that will be agreeable to the reader. You can organize directly according to the following sequence. So looking at these. So in the intro, identify the problem or their need briefly. Announce the recommendation, solution, or action using action verbs. Explain more fully the benefits of the recommendation or the steps to be taken to solve the problem. Discuss pros, cons, and costs. Conclude with a summary specifying the recommendation and the necessary action. For the indirect approach, when a reader may oppose or not agree with your recommendation, or when circumstances suggest caution, don't be in a hurry to reveal your recommendation. Consider using these steps to help you convince your reader and get them on your side. So, make a general reference to the problem, not to your recommendation, in the subject line. Describe the problem or the need your recommendation will address. Use specific examples. Discuss alternative solutions, beginning with the least likely to succeed. So throw out your weaker arguments, so to speak, in the beginning, and then build on showing how it gets better and better and better. Present the most promising alternative or your actual recommendation until present it last, right? So building up to that, woo, this is a great product or service. This is a solution for your life. This is what you need right now. Show how the advantages of your recommendation outweigh the disadvantages. Always important. That's like anticipating the objections, right? Summarize your recommendation in the end and ask for authorization to proceed if it's necessary based on your report. Okay, so now we'll look at a sample recommendation report. So this is written by Jonathan Kreider, who applied the indirect process in writing the following report. Jonathan is an operations manager in charge of a fleet of trucks for a large parcel delivery company. And when he heard about the new Goodyear Smart Tire with an electronic chip, he thought his company should give it a try. So his recommendation report begins with a short introduction to the problem, followed by his 2 recommendations. Then he explains the product and how it would benefit the company. He concludes by highlighting his recommendation and specifying the actions that should be taken. All right, so let's take a look here. So in the in the subject line, he has pilot testing smart tires. Okay. Next to fuel, truck tires are our biggest operating cost. Last year, we spent $211,000 replacing and retreading tires for 495 trucks. This year, the cost will be greater because prices have jumped at least 12% and because we've increased our fleet to 550 trucks. Truck tires are an additional burden since they require labor-intensive paperwork to track their warranties, wear, and retread histories. To reduce our long-term costs and improve our tire tracking system, I recommend that we do the following. Purchase 24 Goodyear Smart Tires and begin a 1-year pilot test on 4 trucks. Okay, so what do you notice about the intro of this? It's not too long. He uses numbers, so that draws your eyes, and use bullet points, which also draws your eyes. So then he goes on to explain how the smart tires actually work. And then he presents how they will benefit the company. And he gives 4 reasons: retreading, safety, record keeping and maintenance, and theft prevention. So again, you'll see throughout, if you're just browsing here, he does have a few more numbers. And it's very clean and easy to follow. And in his summary, he says, specifically, I recommend you do the following. Authorize the special purchase of 24 Goodyear Smart Tires at $450 each, plus 1 electronic sensor at $1,200. Approve a 1-year pilot test in our Atlanta territory that equips 4 trucks with smart tires and tracks their performance. Yeah. Good. Now, this letter is slightly incomplete. You would need to have a sign off, of course. But you'll see that the summary is also written in point form, and it's a call to action. All right, and last but not least, we're going to look at progress reports. So progress reports monitor the headway of unusual or non-routine activities. For example, progress reports would keep management informed about a committee's preparations for a trade show 14 months from now. Such reports usually answer 3 questions. Is the project on schedule? Are corrective measures needed? And what activities are next? So continuing projects often require progress reports to describe their status. These reports may be external or internal, which would inform the management. So the pattern for making these, typically goes in this order, these 5 steps. So you specify in the opening the purpose and the nature of the project. So present your project, provide background information if the audience needs filling in. If it's an internal report so everybody already knows about it, you may be able to skip this step. If it's an external report, it's probably necessary. Describe the work that's already been done, explain the work that's in progress, and make sure you include the personnel, the activities, the methods, and the locations. Anticipate problems and provide possible remedies and solutions to those problems. And discuss future activities and provide the expected completion date. That's always important. Even if you have to write a report again and your project is taking longer than you expected, make sure you include a completion date. Okay, and we have a sample progress report. So as a location manager in the film industry, Catherine Granado frequently writes progress reports, such as the one that we're going to look at. Producers want to be informed of what she is doing, and a phone call does not provide a permanent record. Provides a quick update, but nothing permanent. So notice that in her progress report, she identifies the project and provides brief background information. Then she explains what's been completed, what hasn't been yet, and what problems she expects in completing her project. So her subject line is sites for Bodega Bay Telefilm. This memo describes the progress of my research for an appropriate rustic home, villa, or ranch to be used for the wine country sequences in the telefilm Bodega Bay. 3 sites will be available for you to inspect on February 21st as you requested. Okay, and then she tells us about the sites and the project she's working on. Then she goes into telling us about the work that she has already completed. Then what needs to be done. And finishes with some anticipated problems. So she says, you should be aware of 2 complications for filming in these areas. Or in this area, excuse me. Property owners seem unfamiliar with the making of films and are suspicious of short-term leases. And many trees won't have leaves again until May, so you may wish to change the filming schedule. By February 14th, you'll have my final report describing the 3 most promising locations. Arrangements will be made for you to visit them February 21st. And again, if you would like to read any of the letters, please feel free to pause the video lecture. All right, that is it for reports and what we're going to cover in the video lectures. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time.